Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Helen Tung, and so I wanted to start by saying that I'm currently at the EU Japan Centre. I'm here for a number of months, and a lot of people ask, what exactly am I doing here? Well, for some of you, you may know that I'm looking at EU Japan collaboration, particularly in NewSpace. And so I thought one of the ways I could probably engage more people, and for others like yourself, if you're interested, to actually share with you what's actually going on, perhaps on a weekly basis, so that you can also provide some input. If you've got ideas, please share with me. I'm more than happy to. What I ask is that if you could hashtag NewSpace2060 and hashtag EU Japan Centre, that would be amazing. So having spent about a month or so trying to understand NewSpace in Japan, I have actually spoken to a lot of people, including JAXA, NewSpace startups, the government, ministry, cabinet, and a number of stakeholders. And what I discovered that, when we talk about collaboration, and we talk about businesses, we're thinking of scale. And it's very difficult to talk about scaling businesses when there's very few. So I have had to roll back this idea of exploring new space in Japan to the idea of entrepreneurship in Japan. So where is entrepreneurship and innovation in Japan? So everyone points to Tokyo. I went more recently to Fukuoka, and of course Osaka is also a very lively place. And that's one of the things I'm trying to explore, maybe in the next few months, if anything, is to try and understand, let's say if we were to create a new space hub, where would be an ideal place in Japan to host it? Would it be Kyoto? Would it be Nagoya, Hokkaido? These are some ideas that I'm trying to throw out there and get your view on. Some people would say, well, of course it's Tokyo. And that, I would say, is a very safe assumption. If not, it's a backup plan. However, I would like to do my own research and also to get your views, if you have a particular view, on this. The second thing I wanted to look at is actually on space applications. So as you may know, the Japanese government recently launched the QZSS satellite. It's basically like an figure eight across Asia Pacific, but primarily down towards Australia. And then, of course, we've got the Galileo and also Sentinel satellites, which basically try to help Earth observation. Both EU and Japan, I would say, have similar goals. They basically want to look at space applications. Now, before you all shut down and think, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, it is actually very simple. So when I talk about space applications, let's start with the mobile phone, right? So everyone who has a mobile phone would have a chip, and the chip would be connected to a satellite, and the satellite would allow you to then know which geographical location that you're at. That is the purpose of a satellite for what they call LBS, location-based services, right? So that is one form of application, and it is the biggest form of application. I think it's more than 50% share. The second application would be in the cars, so unmanned cars or generally cars, vehicles, where, for example, accurate positions are needed. Okay, so then you can think from there where we could go with accurate positioning. So you could have ships, you could have aviation, drones. There's discussions about, like Amazon and eBay deliveries and all that, and there are a lot of discussions on that. So as I tried to figure out, okay, well, do I task myself in writing a report that nobody reads, or do something more creative? So I decided to then basically launch a blog, and it's literally NewSpace2060.com. You can have a look at it. It's at the very initial stages. I'm going to put pen to paper and write stuff, but if you want to contribute, if you're a startup, you're a space fan, you're a expert on the matter, and you just want to share with the general public, then get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to basically have your article or your photo or whatever information you want to share onto my website. So the idea is people can assess it as recently as possible. If there are events, I'm most likely to try and attend and then write about it, such as, for example, the Japan Aerospace event that was held a few weeks ago. And alongside that, I'm thinking of doing these regular weekly podcasts, most likely on a Friday, and purely to update what's been happening. Obviously, it's about leveraging the power of the internet. And finally, and for me probably more importantly, is the EU Japan NewSpace2060 poetry manga competition. Now, you're going to ask me, what has poetry manga got to do with space? Well, as I said, let's take it a step back. So when I thought about space applications, I thought, okay, well, what if I ran a space applications program? And someone said, well, Helen, that's just boring. You've already got a lot of space agencies that are doing that. You've got JAXA, you've got ESA, you've got NASA. So then, okay, well, I'm passionate about poetry. So we could do poetry, and then an associate of Kengo Kuma, well-known architect, said, well, why don't you do manga? Because you're in Japan. So I thought, okay, fine. For the limited experience that I have, I am relying on my past experience of being an international student officer at university, running about 8 events, over 1,000 people attending, and also previously running the Moon Pitch competition in association with the Moon Village Association. So right now I've got judges on board, I've got 2 more that I'm hoping to get on board, and then I'm actively now calling for sponsorship and prizes. And this is where I would love to get your involvement. If you are working in space, be it old space or new space, if you are passionate about engaging with the general public, and I genuinely mean that because I believe the customer, the future new space market is the likes of you and me, and also everyday folks and young kids who in 10 years' time may be interested in space and set up their own startup, to take part and get in touch with me, and let's see what we can do. So the idea is the finalists, so the competition will run into end of March, and the finalists will be announced on Yuri's Night on 12th of April 2019. And the idea behind that is I am teaming up with 2 other entrepreneurs to try and host an event where we will announce winners, but we want to invite a Japanese astronaut, we want to invite artists, investors and businesses to come and mingle and do business and to talk about space and about our passion. So it's something that is quite exciting, it's quite new, and I invite you all to follow and also see where this path and journey will take us in terms of expanding new space in EU and Japan. Thank you.